And now, Kyle and Steven present another episode of the Go F Yourself podcast.
It's Fix.
Really? Well, that's embarrassing. The Go Fix Yourself podcast.
Welcome to the Go Fix Yourself podcast, the podcast we do in our 30s to fix what we learned in our 20s. My name is Steven, and sitting across from me is the delectable, the delicious, the deviant Kyle Redding.
Deviant's an interesting choice because that's not very positive.
I was going for the triple D, dude. I was going for the triple D.
I'm usually good with double D's.
Just two D's and we're good.
2 D's and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back for another episode. This past month has just been a lot of stuff that
A whirlwind.
I just don't know. I feel like I'm still waking up. I feel like it's been a dream.
There's got to be a song in there that I could sing.
Wake up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, put a little bit of makeup.
Grab a brush, put a little makeup.
Oh, you actually know the words. I murmur.
When that played at your wedding, I feel like I was the only one that knew almost the
man.
entire song.
Dude,
Chop
shout
suey,
out
just
to
move it
DJ Gray again for just playing the hits.
Yeah, I think some of the older crowd was a little shocked at the end of what was coming out of
big time.
the speakers. Like,
Yeah. Because
but-
we talked about it last week, but he played Limp Bizkit.
right.
And then,
Behind Blue Eyes.
Oh, man. It was a fun wedding. But we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, go back and listen to last episode.
If you didn't listen to last episode, go check it out. It's all about my wedding. Even the wedding, the episode before that is all about my bachelor party. Now we're back on path.
Yeah, we kind of got derailed for a few weeks. Battled a couple of hangovers, a couple of headaches,
yes.
a couple of mid-30 body issues that you have when you drink too much. And now we're getting back on the tracks.
Yep.
We're deciding, hey, you know what? Let's not be a piece of trash the rest of 2022.
And that's a good thing. We're only in the third month.
I know, but I already feel like it's a wash. I feel like let's start the year over.
Oh, no.
It was fun.
Can we get a redo
Yeah,
on this?
but I haven't done a lot, I feel like.
Mulligan.
My camera is still in my camera bag from when I went to Arizona.
Yeah.
I just haven't pulled it out.
I get that, though.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want to.
I think there's a time when,
Don't force me.
you pull it out so many times, and then, after you do that, you're like, it stays in there, and then you're like, I just don't want to touch it.
It's like a penis.
Oh.
I get it. Pull it out so many times. I'm not even gonna pull it out anymore. Yeah.
No, I've been pulling it. See, I've been pulling it out. I've been whipping it
Every
out.
day.
Every
You
day,
gotta do
dude.
30 straight days of pulling it out.
That's the thing. Last week, if you were there for the episode, I talked about that I was about to start my full month of doing a video a day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here I am, and I posted the 6th one today. Of course, when this podcast dropped, it'll be the 7th one. It's been a journey, dude. You've done this before. You did the video a day for a month. Here's a little bit of insight into what happened last week. I forgot that I forgot to put it on my calendar, which is, if it doesn't go on the calendar, I don't remember it, right? It's just like I have to put it on my calendar as soon as I commit to something, and I didn't do to this. And it was a full weekend of filming. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And on Wednesday, I completely forgot. I thought, I'm good. I'll just keep doing a video every day.
Right.
I was on the track, Tuesday night, I'll do Wednesday's video. Wednesday night, I'll do Wednesday's video. And so that's what I was. And then all of a sudden Wednesday came around, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving for 3 days. I have to do a video. And so I'm proud of myself, because in that day, in Wednesday, I did 3 videos. I filmed 3 videos.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when I started this journey, I was like, which was this last week, I was like, oh my gosh, 1 video a day is going to be tough. But then I was like, Wednesday, 3 videos, no problem. I can do it. I even texted you. I was like, I'm excited about it. I don't know what I'm going to film, or I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm excited because there's this creative energy, this vibe that I was kind of like tapping into, and I did it, man. And so I'm excited.
Yeah, I think you're going to learn a lot. I think you'll get a lot more confidence in your abilities when you're done, because I look back on when I did it and I'm like, I don't even know how I did it. Like, it was just like, you know, I have a family while you're doing it, and you now have a wife and stuff, and like they need time, and I feel like Molly was just like, just do your thing. You said you're going to do this, so do it.
That's where Alicia's been too.
Yeah,
it's just been like, well, you committed, so you got to do it. Like, don't be a wussy.
Don't be a quitter.
Yeah. I didn't marry no quitter.
Yeah,
that's actually a perfect impression of Alicia.
Well,
I didn't marry no quitter.
You know what an annulment is, Steven, right? So you better finish it. Yeah. How's everything else going? I feel like we haven't talked a lot lately, like
about just life.
Yeah. We just text each
I think
other
it was
once
about wedding. It was about the bachelor party. It was about then, everything else. I think it's been, everything's been good. It's been very chill. So business wise, it's like January, February are always like slow months, and then like March is when it starts to pick up. And I've already started to see
pre-summer.
that pick up. Yeah, so it feels good because things are starting to pick up a little bit. January, February were slow. A lot of money was spent. We went on some trips.
Sure.
And so now we're like, okay, we're getting back into the groove of things. I now have a wife, and so it's like, all right, the wedding's over. That is good.
Your
That's
life is
us.
over. It's just
the old ball and chain. That's what I am. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I think Alicia she's probably like, Steven, you're not a ball and chain.
Yeah.
Don't talk about yourself like that.
I know. You don't want to joke about that. She might not like it very much.
Yeah. No, but it's been good, man. It's, this whole endeavor of doing a video a day has been eye-opening of how much I really can achieve in a day if I really put my mind to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like what I've been sacrificing is just my TV time at night. Yeah. That's it.
That's hard.
It is hard. But at the same time, I was like, on that Wednesday when I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do 3 videos. So I filmed one video. I filmed a walk, right? Of just me and Alicia and the dog just going for a walk.
Right.
And then I came back. I filmed another one. And then what was the other one I filmed?
Was the backyard?
Yes, and that was last night actually.
Right.
I filmed that on Saturday night, and so it's just been like, you know what? I got to do this. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna try to do it my best. But also, I have to do it in a time constraint, and being a perfectionist is where I'm at, and so I struggle with that. And so of course it's like you want to fine tune the details. Oh, this doesn't match this, and so I want to bring up that and do this and dial it in, and so that's where I've been like having to like
kind of have to kiss that goodbye.
Exactly,
to an extent.
And so that is what one of the things I've been learning this week is like, you know what? It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, because the fact of the matter is, if someone actually sees those little details that I spend hours on, then kudos to them. But there's rarely anybody.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about video and a lot of things is like you're trying to suck somebody into a moment that like they don't notice details per se.
Yeah.
Like or I should say more mistakes.
Yep.
Like if somebody's so invested in your video, like, oh, this looks great. I love the story.
Oh, I wish you would have color corrected it differently.
Did
here.
I notice that hue was just a bit off on the jacket?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So those are the things I'm having to learn of like, it actually doesn't really matter. So, I mean, already in a week, I'm already learning stuff about like, you know what? Those little minute details don't really 100% matter for the long scheme of things.
Especially in short form content.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody that's like, these guys are so wrong.
I mean, there's probably someone out there listening and being
they
like,
can suck it, okay? Because they're not putting out 30 videos. But
what about you though?
Man, I don't know what happened, but I went down like I've become obsessed. I'm going to blame it on TikTok with like health and fitness stuff now.
Well, that's a good thing to become obsessed with,
I guess,
though.
but like I'm going down a weird, like I've been watching a lot of just like, because in
steroid
the gym,
stuff, injecting
trend
yourself.
is a big thing. We're injecting yourself with all sorts of stuff.
Wait, what?
I'm not going to. But
wait, what? No,
it's
was
called
just
trend,
kidding.
and it's like,
oh my gosh, there's a real okay.
Oh
well,
yeah, it's a big thing right now. But
I didn't know that.
More like because now I've hit some we'll call them PRs, personal records in the gym for like major lifts at Chris's gym. So I'm like, well, how do I keep pushing those up? And so now I'm like, okay, what's my diet? Like, how much protein am I consuming? Blah, like,
Oh, so you're really getting into that. No, that's not bad, though.
But I do think it is bad because, like, I don't want to be a gym bro.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't want
guess
that lifestyle.
But
where you're
also
just
at the same time, isn't that like, I mean, I've never been there, but isn't that like where you start to see your growth? Once you start to like, figure out
your diet, once
your
you figure that
exact,
out.
like how your body reacts to certain foods and certain proteins, and then you start to lift better or worse, and then you take note of that. Isn't that where like you start growing
like
the most?
once you start like really, I feel, becoming numbers driven about like what your macros are and your calorie
Are you
intake.
doing that? Are you counting macros?
Somewhat, yeah. Mainly
wow.
just calories right now.
How do you even do that?
Well, there's about 30,000 calculators online that like you just put in your weight, your height, what your goals are, and they spit out what you should do.
As
or
in
what's
like
your goal.
calories?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like
So is that
gram of protein has so much calories in it. A gram of fat has, and so that breaks down into how much you should be eating and what sort of food.
I did my Fitness Pal, Under Armour's app, and it was like, I did that whole thing of like putting my body weight, what was my goal weight, et cetera, et cetera.
What's
and
your
it was
activity
like,
level?
I think it was like, you should be eating 1,200 calories a day or something like that.
Yeah, that's low. That's very low.
Is that low?
Super
That
low.
was the last time I did it, and I didn't like it. So of course, after
Yeah,
a few
I mean,
days,
you
I
were
was like,
probably trying to like lose a lot of weight, I would imagine.
I probably was,
Yeah.
But I don't know. See, that's another thing too. I don't know what's like extreme and what's not extreme. So I was like, this sounds good.
Yeah, like most people, like if you're trying to stay the same, like 2,000 calories is kind of like the old standard of
Like lose a pound.
No, like what you probably consume in a day, where it's probably 2,500, but that's to stay the same, depending on your activity level.
Gotcha.
So if you're like working out hard and only consuming like 1,200 calories, you're going to lose weight like real quick and muscle. But I said all that to say, like, I watched this video by this super ripped guy that does like entrepreneur stuff, right?
Cool.
And
Wait,
he's like,
what's his name?
It's Max something.
Okay.
And he has videos called like $100 Million Man kind of thing. Like he's made all these businesses, blah, blah, blah.
I'm into it.
And he tries to give you like no nonsense stuff, which I like. I don't like you beating around the bush. Like you got to do keto or do this diet.
Yeah.
He's like, I've done this since I was like 17. And he gives you this formula and tells you need to consume 1 gram of protein for every pound you weigh.
Every day.
Every day.
Oh, wow.
Which is a lot.
That seems like a ton.
It is, but and then he's basically saying like, how do I eat ice cream and all this stuff every day? Well, I follow this, which allows me to do that because I have a few extra calories at the end of the day that I can eat whatever I want as long as I stay under this number.
Oh,
and it made sense to me. So I was like, okay, I'm sitting at right now like just under 200 pounds probably.
Good for you.
So I'm like, how do I consume 200 grams of protein a day?
That seems like so much.
So let me tell you. So a protein shake generally has like 24 to 30.
Yeah.
Like a pound of ground beef, a pound has 100 in it.
A pound.
A pound.
Are you eating a pound of ground beef every day?
I've been getting like today I had 4 eggs and a protein shake for like 50.
Okay.
I had
150 to go.
Yep. I had 2 hamburger patties, which each had 25.
Okay.
So another 50.
Yep. 100 to go.
Then I had another protein shake with 30.
Okay.
So I got 70 to go. And then my dinner was like this, not a crunch wrap, but a tortilla with like chicken and all this stuff in it. That I
so
probably
like a meat lovers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I probably didn't get 70 in there, so I might have to like have something when I get home, like a half a protein shake or something. But I'm like, I am so full.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But I'm not really eating like junk.
Is this the first day?
This is day 2.
Okay, so how do you feel after 2
Actually,
days?
really good.
Okay, so besides being like semi-full.
Well, like I feel like I can't like consume like more stuff. Like I don't have room for dessert or like stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm like, this is interesting. Being on the Peloton, I've been doing it hardcore, and it's made me go down memory lane with music. Oh. I've been listening to throwback stuff from when I was like 17 to 25 to like.
Give us an example.
So like today, I was listening to This or the Apocalypse.
Oh
right?
my gosh, I
And-
went through a phase.
Right. And I had a few people message me because I put it on my story that said like, this is a great finisher for a Peloton ride because the one song, just the ending is just like Boner Town. Like
Boner Town.
You're going to stop and look around.
We're trying to achieve that every day.
Yeah. And somebody like messaged me. It was actually Jason Moore. He was like, very underrated album.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, I was like, you're right. It was. And I started thinking about other albums. And so that's why I texted you. I was like, hey, come up with like 3 to 5 albums that like hit you in the heart or like affected you some way.
Yep.
And so I was curious what you would kind of like come up with.
I freaking loved when you texted me. I was like, oh, that is such a good idea. Because I think that being in your 30s, like a nostalgia, like that's when nostalgia starts to like really hit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, even this last weekend, I went to a place I haven't been in like 10 years. And it was just like, I was flooded with memories of my 20s.
Right.
Right. And so thinking about, once you texted me today, I was like thinking about the albums that like not only were like big parts of my life, I almost said lives, my
Your
multiple
Instagram
lives.
Yeah.
But like actually like what really drove me to do the things that I do.
Yeah.
And so I started making a list, right? It was like literally, I think it was probably like 10 on there.
Gee.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
a lot.
I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, we were both musicians.
Yeah.
Witness the End made it right to the very tippy top.
Of Alaska.
Who's ready to get sweaty? We are.
I still watch some of those videos every once in a while because I'm like, man, did I really do that?
Yeah.
Like, because it's
I know.
funny because you're like,
It's such a dream now, isn't it?
and it's like, I'm the like, no one would look at me and be like, dude, that guy was in a metal band. Not a single person.
There's no way.
Nobody.
And I think when I still tell people that like I was in a band and we did stuff, they're like, huh, interesting. Like you can see
like
in their head.
polka band?
You can see in their head like, really, you?
You were in a hipster, like, indie acoustic band, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was too. That's another thing. But so I came up with 3 albums.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, I still have like all the albums like on a list right here, but I came up with 3 ones that I think really actually like not only were a big part of my life,
Sure.
as far as like I listened to them constantly, but they actually influenced my decisions as a adolescent.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So should we do like 1 and 1?
Yeah, we'll go 1 and 1 because I have one that was like childhood and then one that was kind of like
So you went all you went all,
like not childhood, but like teen.
Because if we went all the way back to my childhood,
Michael W. Smith, baby.
No, dude, this is so silly. I haven't even thought about this in forever, actually, until just now. My parents, when I was a baby, right, they bought me this cassette. It was songs all about Steven. Right.
Okay.
And so like basically it was this company that would probably just make songs for like, you know, Mark and John and Andrew. And
Steven's a big fat loser.
Exactly. But I could still to this day, like I was obsessed with it because it was like, the song was like, we're gonna sing about Steven.
Oh.
We're gonna sing about Steven.
So you paid $12.
We're gonna sing about Steven because he's a special boy.
That's what the lyrics were?
The lyrics were, dude.
I think your parents had a band and they were like, you know what? Our first banger is going to be Steven.
But also, even if childhood too, there was actually like a Christian country quartet. Country, dude. And now you know me, like I can't listen to country unless it like, you know, has a good beat, it has a good melody.
Unless I'm deaf.
And it's it's like I'm not a big fan of country music.
Me neither.
And so like literally this album, and I remember selling it at our garage sale as a kid as we were moving up to Alaska, and like someone bought it.
Yeah.
And like I remember them picking it up and looking at the disc and being like, "Woo, this one's been played a bunch."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that was me." And it skipped, and I'm like, "I hope they like that." But it was very like Christian, like country. It was like 4 guys that would just go from church to church to church, and they just were like old. We're talking old guys, right?
Of
and
course.
they would like go from church to church, and like they were like, "Hey, we should put an album together," and they did. Somehow it got in my hands, and I loved it. Don't know why.
Jeez.
Don't know why.
Speaking of country music, real quick story. the other day we went out for a family dinner and we're driving home and we're listening to the radio and the song was like some really dirty song. Like you'd be surprised at what's on the radio like some of these days.
100%.
And I was just like, okay, I'm going to switch this to this radio station. And it was like, next up, and Aiden and Caroline are in the back seat.
Yeah.
It's like, next up, lies parents tell to their kids that they don't even know. And I was like, switched it right to
And it was like, no, just switch it back. Switch it
It's
back.
exactly what happened. I switched it to country and Molly like looked at me and was like, what? Like, you hate country. I was like, just go with it. And he's
Deal
like,
with it.
Turn it back. I want to hear what the lies are. I was like, nah, maybe another day.
Oh, that's gold.
I was like, man, radio stations are really trying to throw you under the bus. Like,
dude, that's gold, man.
yeah.
Okay, so first album on my list. Now, this album made me want to be a musician. It really did.
Okay.
Made me want to be a rock star. I listened to it constantly. Listened to their first 2 albums. Linkin Park Hybrid Theory.
Oh, man.
Bro, I wore that album out. It was literally, after listening to that album, I wanted to start a band with my group of friends.
Were you going to be the rapper?
No. I was going to be the electric guitar player.
Yeah.
The
The
shredder.
guy that wore the headphones the whole time?
That dude, oh man. But actually we just a side note, so we did we had a buddy and he wrote some songs and he sent them to the bass player of Linkin Park because he was like, I'm not going to get Chester, I'm not going to get the other guys. He's like, but the bass player though, if I can find his email online, and this was right when internet was still becoming a thing, he might listen to him. He actually found his email, sent it to him, and actually, literally, Phoenix is his name, the bass player, sent him an email back and was like,
"This sucks."
No, apparently, from what I heard, never saw the email, but he said these songs are actually really good. Once you can get them fully recorded, send them back to me, and we'll talk.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be superstars. But yeah, no, Linkin Park Hybrid Theory. That was that was one of the first ones on the list after you talked to me or texted me.
No, I remember that album because was that the one with the guy with the flag on the front, running? I think so.
Yeah,
a soldier.
Yes, I honestly can't remember
fuzzy.
the album artwork, but it was the first album that I remember being so enamored with synths because DJ Han was their DJ. Now I've heard music with DJs before, like Limp Bizkit actually made the list, but the DJ was just like chicka chicka wah chicka wah chicka chicka, But DJ Han of Linkin Park was actually doing keys and doing DJ and adding extra elements into the song and not just being a DJ. And so I remember just because he has a song on there, and I just remember being so impressed with that, just that he produced it himself. It was the first time I had ever heard anybody do that. It made such an impact on me.
Yeah, I remember driving out to my friend's cabin, and when we had back in the day when you had the zip up disc holders.
Oh,
you get to go through the sleeves and be like, oh,
they're
dude,
all
you got
burned
that?
CDs.
Well, yeah, this was. I think we actually had the real ones, and I had a Discman, and he's like. I was like, you mind if I listen to that one? I had my headphones on. We're driving with his parents, and I just had my head against the window, and I was just like, this is the greatest album of all time.
Oh, dude, it was so good. It was so
good.
before its time. The first 2 albums, Hybrid Theory and Meteora. Actually, Meteora.
Yeah.
There's a song on that. Honestly, the song names escape me right now, but it was actually one of the first songs I learned on guitar in drop D tuning. Now, for the people listening, drop D tuning is just taking the low note on low string on the guitar and just going a little bit lower. That's it.
Yeah.
And so
matching
it's just it's what hardcore bands and rock and roll bands sometimes do to get a little bit of dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
dun.
Just makes it easier to do bar chords and stuff like
that. So anyways, the first time I figured what drop D tuning was, and then I started learning Linkin Park songs, and Meteora was the first album that had just come out, so I was learning their songs on that. So Linkin Park was a big, huge influence in my head, but Hybrid Theory was one of the main albums. Okay, now your turn.
Mine is, I'm embarrassed now because this was
Kyle's a special boy.
Yeah, it was this album that my parents got me. No, so this brings me back to probably 12-ish.
Okay,
and it
so
was And I'm just using this because I grew up on contemporary Christian music, essentially.
We did
Carmen, Michael W. Smith, Stephen Curtis Chapman.
We are Riot.
No,
Carmen.
Who's in the House?
Oh,
JC.
Oh my God.
How do you forget that?
Oh, that's a good one.
Play that in the clubs nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was always, I need something like heavier or like punkier was kind of in my head. Five Iron Frenzy.
Yes. That actually almost made my list. But which album though?
I put down our newest album ever. That's the one that had like superpowers.
Oh my gosh.
Canada was one. But there was another album.
Wow.
I couldn't remember which one, but it was like Where's My Pants or something.
Yep, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but I just remember because the lead singer, I think his name was Reese. Right? Yeah, yeah. I was obsessed with him, right?
Yeah,
Because I wore baseball hat backwards, like the pipes jeans and like the t-shirt.
Oh, dude.
And my sister
was it Janko jeans?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But there's that video of like, and I'm trying to think of his stupid voice because it was just like, yeah. Well, it was just like, what? I can't even remember the lyrics, but it's them like going down the road, the music video, like a beautiful day, something, something. Anyways,
yes.
But my sister had a crush on him, and I was like, oh, I hope you marry him so that like he would be my brother-in-law. And I was just obsessed with that album, and like that was my punk introduction, which was ska.
Yeah,
but it
mine
touched
too.
me.
Ska definitely made my list.
Yeah.
You want to know something about Five Iron Frenzy? I also grew up with that band, and I love that band so much so that, of course, 10-year-old, 11-year-old Steven would listen to this music in his bedroom and not just like want to play music with it, but also I wrote the bands. I wrote fan mail to the bands, and one of them I can remember was Pillar. I don't know if you remember Pillar. It was like an old Christian heavy metal band. I loved them. But another one was Five Iron Frenzy. And so I just remember I must have been like 8 or 9, and it was around my birthday, and I thought for sure they didn't get the letter.
Sure.
And so, but my parents, unbeknownst to me, had like, grabbed all of the letters that were to me for my birthday and just kind of like stashed them away in the same. And then, he'll open these.
They burned them
on his birthday. And I opened them up, and I remember exactly where I was standing, and I remember exactly being like, oh, and everybody was like, who is this from? It was from Jeff the Girl.
Yeah.
Who was one of the brass players in Five Iron Frenzy.
Yep.
And I just was overjoyed. I can't remember what birthday. It might have been 9 or 10 or something like that, like I said. But it was just
first arousal.
Dude, I was just so excited. And like I remember my parents being like, Jeff the Girl? Like,
you wouldn't get it, guys.
What? And I was like, it's Five Iron Frenzy. They wrote me back a letter. And it was just like the nicest thing that they could have done, and just like wrote a little kid, and it just made my day, dude.
I turned on that album not too long ago.
I should listen to it again.
I was disappointed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was one of those where I was just like, man, I used to listen to this.
The one I really remember about Five Iron Frenzy was the live album.
Yeah.
Just like Blink-182, their live album. Right. That one, those two albums actually did the most damage on me. I don't know if you'd say that. But I mean, like Five Iron Frenzy, like when they did live at Cornerstone. And me and you went to Cornerstone Festival, the last one ever. Not Cornerstone Festival, for those that don't know, it was a old Christian festival. Now, like the Christian bands of the day,
like Woodstocks,
of
Christian,
and
music.
It was just like packed house in the middle
everywhere.
of Illinois, and just
biggest spiders you've ever seen in those fields.
My gosh, dude, for real. And it was when we went, it was like the hottest days of Illinois in a long time. It was like 95 degrees, but like 105 humidity.
I forgot about that.
And
that's
we're
where
just
Stephanie, she would. I remember that she was not having a good
Rabbit
time.
Trail.
We're gonna only probably have time for 2 albums.
Actually, that's probably true. But we literally were staying outside in tents. We're like, this is no problem. A giant spider crawled up. I think it was outside the tent, but it was just this thing, and you could see it through the tent. Freaked out, got in the van, went to the nearest hotel, and left us there.
Yeah, because I remember like we shook the tent or something, and like all these spiders
was
were like,
it was
we're
really
out in
bad.
the middle of this
Yeah.
field, and I mean,
I stayed inside my tent and
I
whatever.
slept
just
in the van.
just
I
dealt
remember.
with it. But I
Yeah.
remember waking up and just sweating. But
Yeah, it was
okay. Well,
hot.
anyways, Five Iron Friends. So we got Linkin Park. We got Five Iron Frenzy. Now this third one, mine, is a band that you might not know of. It's Tycho, Tycho. Now he's an ambient like electronic producer.
Yep.
And
You
why
turned me
he-
on to him a while back.
yeah, why he's so influential to me as a young kid, but as also now I still listen to him every week. He started as a designer. I am also a designer because of him, and he was like, I want to have the music that inspires my art. Like I'm making cool creative pieces as a designer. I want to see like what kind of music can connect with his art pieces. And he couldn't find any. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to learn music production and make the music myself.
Yep.
And so he came out with this album called Past His Prologue. Now you can find it on Spotify and all that stuff. But it was just like this really like electronic, very ambient. It's all instrumental. So it's very chill. It's great music for studying or focusing or reading to, because it's just like there's maybe a little bit of melody, but not too much. So it's great background. But I love it because not only was he a phenomenal music producer and still is to this day. Now it's a big band. They played like, Sydney Opera House and stuff like that now. But he still creates all the designs for the band, the posters, the album artwork, the T-shirts, everything. And so he was a very influential person. And so that I think that his music was why I wanted to get into electronic music production, because of that right there. So if you listen to like my first tracks that I did as a kid, like on GarageBand,
Right.
Very chill, very ambient, just trying to figure things out, but just trying to be like Tycho. So
For sure.
Definitely that was very influential into my design career, but also my music career.
Yeah, you showed me a few things, and I have that on a couple playlists for like
Chill.
for like zone work, like
Yep.
when I need to just do something and I need to almost put the song on repeat, because then it just
Bingo.
you
It's
never
perfect.
notice.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
So Tycho, Tycho.
Tycho. Yeah, since we don't want to go too long on this. I'm going to put one album out there, and then I think we should just shotgun a few other albums. Okay. In this one, I just moved it ahead of what I was going to say, but it's got to be Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree.
We're going down.
Oh
down,
my God. Because
swinging around.
I think once I learned how to play guitar, like I wanted to play metal, but then like at the time when I was 19 and doing like the men thing, we were playing pop punk.
Yep. Musically excited nerds for those listening. Kyle was in a band called Men.
That's true. We love men. That's what we were hoping the crowds would be screaming.
We love men.
We love men.
Yeah. Before your time, really.
I really think
you came
we
out
were
with that-
so close.
I mean,
We were
surprised
just-
you didn't get signed
We
on
were
the
just
spot.
24 years late.
Yeah.
No, but
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was me, Josh Olson, Joe Nurlfie, and Jason Klein.
Yeah, shout out to all those boys.
And I was just talking to my buddy Squid, Dan, from the wedding, and we were just talking about like, man, we're getting so old. Do you remember the good days? And it just got me thinking, because I was like, that album, I remember us, like, we would practice in the morning before college classes. Like, we would go to Jason's house at 8 a.m., like early.
Wow.
And we would jam.
Dedicated.
Yeah, we would jam through our
I bet
set.
your neighbors hated you.
I was the neighbor, because Jason was my neighbor.
Oh, but I bet you the other
There was-
neighbors hated
we were on
you.
a corner. But we would jam, and then we would go to school and skip class, do all the normal college things.
Yeah.
And then we would like go to Taco Bell at like midnight and grab
Oh, yeah,
junk and watch movie. Like just those
perfect.
days with zero
Yeah.
responsibility and expectations. Everybody thought we were going to be losers anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were really close. But just that album
Hit the
was
nail on the head.
always pumping, like
Yeah.
with Panic at the Disco, like early
dude.
Panic.
That's I'm still to this day I love Panic at the
Yeah,
Disco.
or like Motion City Soundtrack.
Oh man.
And then I would show them, like, I would sneak in my metal stuff. I'd be like, check out Coheed and Cambria, because it's like not
Coheed
screamy,
and Cambria.
right?
Oh my gosh,
God,
dude.
there's so much. But
Yeah.
that album was everybody knows the Fall Out Boy, but that album rocked my world.
I am curious. Do you remember Supertones?
Yeah, the Mighty Mighty. Well, there's the Mighty Mighty
Well,
Boss
the Mighty
Tones.
Mighty Boss Tones, and there's Supertones, which is
yep.
like the Christian version.
Yeah, yeah.
They were very influential to me. They made one of my lists. It wasn't my 3, but Supertones Strike Back is one album that I just listen to the cassette. That dates me, but listen to the cassette all the time. Now, my 3rd one, I'll just say really quick, was the Hook soundtrack, John Williams.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because that was like that soundtrack was like I was like I want to make music for film.
God, I could just see you as a kid. Yeah, you guys want to hear some?
Hook, where is the hook? Hook, show us the hook. Love
like,
it, dude.
take the auxiliary cord from Steven. He's putting on Hook again.
Dude,
we got an 8-hour road trip. How many times?
Here's the thing. In college, I would try to do my music theory and while listening to music, and I could not do it to anything. Not even Tycho, nothing.
Yeah.
That was the album. Hook soundtrack. I had to listen to that because it was like influential and inspirational to me because I love the movie, but I also love John Williams. Come on, dude. Star Wars, Superman, like Indiana Jones. I mean, the dude just hit after hit after hit.
I don't disagree.
And so that soundtrack was my all time.
Yeah.
Because it was like, also I want to do what he does. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, those are my albums.
Yeah. I had As I Lay Dying's Shadows Are Security album on there from 2005.
Old school.
Yeah, and that was my eyes open to like super catchy, like just like riffing. Like
Smart.
I'm like, oh god, that's good.
Yeah,
and breakdowns and all that stuff. I'm trying to think of 4 Years Strong was on there.
Yes, love that.
Because they were kind of like a metal version of pop punk.
Our intro, actually, Go Fix Yourself intro.
Yeah, it's very
4 Years Strong. Because we told the guy, hey, just listen to 4 Years Strong. Anything you want to do, just
it like
be inspired by that.
Yeah, do it.
And do it. He was like, hell yeah, dude.
I love him.
He did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun, I think, in the big scheme of things to look back on stuff that you used to love and then go back and like touch on it again. And I know, we're going to probably make some more segments here in the future about stuff that like, what did you do? Like the JCPenney catalogs in the bathroom that you used to look at.
Hey, how did you know that?
Everybody did.
Man.
We'll just talk about some nostalgic things. If you guys have some suggestions or albums that you guys really loved, shoot them our way because we'd love to reminisce with you as well.
Changing gears a little bit, and we only got a little bit more time. Let's talk about this really quick. This week, what have you been learning?
So, I mean, I don't like to date our podcast too much with specific things that are going on in the world.
No one ever does.
Right. But there's a lot of stuff going on with Ukraine, Russia. Everybody knows about this stuff. And there's a lot of, I feel like, fear and panic kind of. I only know this because I have a 12-year-old at home that, they discuss stuff at school and then, he gets with his friends and next thing you know, I'm having to answer questions about World War III and atomic bombs and like nukes and are we going to die?
Oh, man.
Yeah. It gets heavy really quick. I mean, picture yourself as 12 years old and
100%.
Everybody plays Call of Duty.
When I was young, I mean, death was on my mind a lot and still is to this day.
No, and I get it and I don't criticize them for it because they're trying to figure out. They're 12 years old. What do they know? Like
you're
just
just
trying
like,
to figure out.
You're
stuff.
like, shut the hell up. Here's a beer.
Yeah, here's 2 beers. Yeah, so
just start drinking now.
Yeah, so it's got me thinking.
I'm just kidding, everybody.
Yeah, no, we're kidding. It got me thinking about like, yes, that's an extreme example, but so many people, I think, in our lives and everybody's lives worry about things that are like way out of their control, and I feel,
oh man, that's the
there's
truth.
Probably somebody that has said something really wise about it, about how to not worry about that. But it's just a good reminder. And I think both you and I have learned some new stuff lately. Mm-hmm. I've been deep into stoicism. And I know that sounds super cheesy, but
no, dude, I was big into I mean, there's a podcast where I go off on stoicism.
Sure. And I just love some of the things that like, they're obviously seeing everybody talking about this stuff. So they put out some gems about, the more we value things outside of our control, the less control we have. And it's just things that remind you that you really only need to spend time worrying about stuff that you can control and not fret and stress out about other things that you can't change.
That's so good.
Yeah. And
that's such a good reminder sometimes. Because like sometimes I think for me personally, I mean, I can even think about today, like stuff gets out of my control and I think that consumes me.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's so, yeah. And then like, I just can't get out of my head. And so like, it's literally just realizing that it's my thoughts that, like, Alicia always is a big fan of talking about thoughts.
Right.
And it's like my thoughts that control my emotion, basically.
Yeah, you kind of let them
Now,
go wild.
I'm probably butchering that a little bit. And she'll talk to me about it. And I'm sorry
She'll pull you aside later. Steven.
Yeah. She'll be like, it's not exactly right.
Yeah.
Love you, girl. But that is a good reminder.
Yeah, because I feel
sure.
like when you're like both you and I are trying to do things each and every day that are inside of our control, making videos, trying to take care of our health, trying to take care of our families.
Yeah.
Those are all things like we have somewhat control over, like what the financial markets or what World War III, when it could be or what it will be, is stuff that we don't really have much say in.
Yep.
And so there's not really sense in using a lot of our brain power to worry or even talk about those things that much. I mean, I'm one of those people where my parents watch a lot of news, so they want to talk about stuff like that all the time. And I tell them, no, I'm not talking about that with you.
Not a big fan.
Because I just feel like they work themselves into a tizzy worrying about, what Putin's going to decide to do or whoever. I'm like, are you going to email him and try to change his mind? Because if not, then I don't see what you're going to do about it. So that's just, I don't know, something that's been on my mind, especially seeing how it affects kids and trying to teach Aiden, like, hey, man, don't stress about stuff outside of your control. You can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So
I love that. That's a great.
I'm sure there's a healthier way to teach him, and maybe somebody could tell me that, but that's how I'm doing it.
Throw them 2 beers and you say, go in your room and
Go.
don't come out until those are finished.
Why don't you go drop some nukes in Call of Duty there, bud? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. You got anything else that you've been learning or want to share? That was just something that's been on my mind.
I think that was a great way to end it and wrap it up,
that's,
man.
that's a hot topic right
Yeah,
now.
no, it's perfect. Because I think, honestly, it's a great reminder to kind of keep into ourselves, like, what can we control in this moment and what can't we control in this moment? And I think that's something I'm learning thanks to Alicia and thanks to
We all need
people
the
around
reminder.
me. Oh, man, so much so.
Well, anyways, guys, I think that's going to wrap up the episode. Thank you again for tuning in. You can find us on all the social medias. Go Fix Yourself Podcast. Leave us a comment. Give us a review, and preferably give it 100 stars. And if that's not an option, 5 will do.
Yeah, you know what? Go the minimum.
Yeah.
5.
5.
If you're gonna 100's the best, but 5 will, I guess,
We'll do.
If we're gonna choose.
Yeah, leave us some comments, send us some messages, tell us your nostalgic albums, or just tell us anything you remember from when you were younger that you feel like we may share with you. And that would be, that'd be fun.
I do have to say, you remember the Blink-182 album, the live album? I did talk about that really quick.
Yes.
But I do remember listening to that on cassette. I recorded it. I think I recorded it from like my friend's recorder, and I just put my Walkman up to it and like the microphone. I recorded it, and then I would listen to that in my room on repeat. That was the first time I had ever heard swear words.
Oh yeah.
Or like really intense like language, like
That whole process probably just sent you to hell.
Bro.
Pirating, cursing, sex,
dude,
everything in there.
It really, really made me who I am today.
I bet.
Thanks, Mark, Tom, and Travis. No, so if you have a story like that, we'd love to hear it. Go Fix Yourself Podcast. But other than that, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Kyle and Steven will be back with a new episode next week. In the meantime, check out GoFixYourselfPodcast.com. And remember to always go fix yourself.